So hello everyone, my name is Marina.
I'm Shravan.
I'm Matangi.
And we are Tech Consult, and we're here to speak to you, the stakeholders of the Legal ITM project. So just to give you a little bit of context about the current situation, currently our client, as you know, is Legal Services, and right now the technology that they use is called Jurican Solution. However, the issue with this is that currently it is 25 years old, so essentially it's obsolete. It's procedural, it's complex to maintain, it's challenging to operate, and because of these issues for the staff itself, it causes a lot of overtime and a lot of staff turnover. So essentially our goal today is to replace Jurican with a better solution. And so we are going to propose an implementation plan. So just to give you our proposed solution before we get into all of the nitty-gritty things about it, our proposed solution is based on change management. And there are two pillars within this solution. It's essentially people-focused and adaptive innovation. These are our two pillars. Within this change management strategy, we are focusing on three things, namely artifacts, process and product, and monitor and measure. Within artifacts, we are going to focus on requirement gathering. Within process and product, we're going to focus on ACF, which we are going to further explain later, audit and actual product innovation, and lastly, in monitor and measure, we're going to focus on risk and mitigation and performance matrix.
Thank you so much, Marina. And so when we talk about artifacts, the number one thing that we need to do is requirements gathering. And to begin with that, the number one step is performing the market analysis just to get a picture of what currently the situation is. So as we know, they developed an in-house solution to tackle this problem of Jurican, but that solution was not implemented and was in 2019, and since then there have been a lot of market innovations throughout in the last three years. So the solution they have at hand is not up to date, and an accurate market analysis is required to just understand what the picture in the market is, what the needs are, and what other competitive solutions out there are possible. And from the market analysis, the takeaways from market analysis, we will plot onto the requirement traceability matrix and feasibility matrix, which I'm going to explain later, the components of it. And from those matrices, we are planning to develop a business requirement document, which will talk about the business part of the project, a system requirement document, which will give us an idea about what we actually require to do in the system, and a functional requirement, which talks about the functional aspect of the project. So talking about the details of these matrices, so when we talk about the requirement traceability matrix, it's important, inherent to know about the ask of the problem at hand, and the business justification, as well as the project objective that we have. So that Marina discussed, that is providing a better solution than Jurican. And the essential thing is, since this is a resource limited project, so our resources is our key criteria here to use them in a very effective judicial manner, along with time estimate and cost estimate. For feasibility metrics, we have on two fronts, which is resources and technology. And for resources, these are key resources, core competencies, and functional units. As well as on technology, it will be the resources of the technology and the execute and experience. Talking about the business requirement document. So when the business required document is basically what incorporate the business end of things. It will capture and articulate the changes that we are when we mention about the change in management that is required. So that would be taken care of through the business requirement document, which will essentially track down all the changes that are required to be made in the organization. Since there's a lack of communication within the organization, the IT team is not supported by all of the divisions are not supported by the IT team. So there's a change of management that's required there. And secondly, system requirement specification and functional. It's based on the product that we are going to develop regarding the actual functionality of the product. And to talk more about it, we're gonna here's Matangi.
So as Marina mentioned, one of the solutions that is needed, it has to be people-focused. And a key issue that we identified is that the right people are not communicating with the right departments, and the right people are not staying responsible or accounted for. So we decided it's crucial to make sure that the right people are informed or consulted at the right stages. For example, at the beginning in scope discovery, we find it's very important for Louis to be consulted as he's the business person, and also Laura would be also responsible for the scope discovery to design the project scope, as in we get both perspectives, the business, the market, and the current technology involved. Sorry, for project scope. And then for market, it would be that, Louis and Frederick.
Use the screen.
No, sorry. I'm pausing. Sorry, Louis and Frederick, the C and R inverse, but Louis would be responsible for market analysis and Frederick would be actually consulted. But it would be Louis is responsible and Laura would be accountable also for the market analysis, as Louis does all the hands-on research and Laura would provide impact due to her software skills that she has. And for the design itself, once again, Laura, she has in-house experience in hand. And Philip also would be responsible, as he has his project management background and he knows what the project and product is about. And for the development of the product, we said that Laura and Philip would once again work hand in hand. And we said afterwards we go into testing and auditing the product, which would be once again Laura and Philip, who are responsible for at this criteria. And then for the delivery and deployment of the product, we said that Frederick would be responsible for it, along with Philip. And another key co-holder that I forgot, that Elliot would also be responsible for the design, as he has communication with the client. He's aware of what the client wants and the client needs, and he's always in communication with the client, as he also remains consulted throughout the process. And another key factor that we identified is that we would need a government team to make sure that this whole project is going as planned and everything is staying on track. And we decided that we need people to be in part of this government's team. And we decided that Andre would be a great member to be part of the government's team, as he is the director. Laura, as she has the in-house, she is the expert on the field. She should also be on the government's team. And Elliot, given that he has previous experience working on the project and given that he is in communication with the client, he would also be on the government's team.
Yes, so next we are going to talk about the actual process and product improvisations. So in terms of product, we would first like to, so first of all, we have a governance team for a reason, right? And the reason why we are doing this is that they will be supervising everything in terms of product and process. And how do we do that? So we would expect the governance team to actually lay down some guidelines, because this is not a normal project, it's a legal services project, right? So the whole regulatory environment, it changes very rapidly. So it's important that we have industry experts who are like overlooking the whole process and the product. So within the IT context as well as in the legal context. So because ultimately the solution that we implement will do the approvals in terms of the legal approvals or the signing offs. So the governance comment, it's advisable that they lay down some guidelines or a handbook that could be, let's say, shared with the rest of the stakeholders, and it makes sure that everyone's coherent and we are all on the same page, we are all doing the same things, right? So first is that. Second, we would actually like to also implement the governance solution. So we have a number of artifacts, and we have developers. There's so much scope in terms of the technology that we could be using in today's day and age. So we would like to develop a governance solution that initially, first we capture all the artifacts that we have and put it on the governance solution. Then secondly, we could also capture the guidelines that we created, the handbook. So what this does is it's going to serve three purposes. First is that it's initially doing all the sign-offs. So instead of the archaic solution that we have a new, advanced, innovative solution that we are building. We iteratively build, right? So one is that. Second, now that we are feeding in the guidelines as well, this could also automate some of the approvals. So we basically have the key stakeholders on this particular platform, and it's just that if there is an anomaly that has been cited, we could write algorithms that give us red flags that notify the right stakeholders, and they could immediately take action on the platform. So there could be test cases designed and the whole development process around it. And the third thing which it could also potentially do in the future for us is that we are doing market analysis manually, right? So on this particular platform, we could basically feed the market analysis that we already have, try to kind of educate the platform so that it's able to identify some of the regulatory compliance environment changes or the market changes. So basically, eventually what we'll build is actually an automated solution, which is, I mean, when I say automation, people get intimidated, but it's actually a gradual rollout plan and have a full-fledged solution that is taking care of these 3 key issues that I have currently with the solution and the processes that we have. So this, in totality, is going to automate both the actual product replacement and the processes as well. The second is the innovation that we're introducing in terms of the actual process. So because there's the software development involved here, so we would obviously like to be as agile as possible. And when I say agile, then all of these things will actually be built in iterations through accepted. So there's this thing called accepted change feature cycles, right? So we could do that. So one is that there are only fewer main key stakeholders, maybe just the business people and the tech people, who first sit down in the first round, that is the accepted feature 0 round, and they discuss how is it that they're going to ideate the product and how to go about the initial development. Second, we have the second round, which is accepted change feature first round. In that, you actually do the estimate analysis. So the cost estimate, the budget estimate, the time estimate, because in terms of, the gap analysis, every developer will need some time to develop certain things. So those kind of estimates or the scope, the pointers or the story pointers could be decided at that point. So that is the accepted change feature first round. And then the final round, in which you actually pull in all of the developers, the quality assurance team, and the business people together, and they explain the business context, and then you finally decide that, these are going to be the actual, you full-fledged start with the whole sprint and the Scrum processes. So this is how we've tried to divide the accepted change feature plan so that it's as agile and as iterative as possible. So first is that. Second is the audit process. So we have a governance team in place, and we have a number of artifacts, right? So there's the market analysis, there's the BRD, the SRS. So all of these things, because there's a legal context to it, and the business or the legal people don't speak the same language as the tech people, so it's always advisable to have them kind of go through it, so they could do the final sign-offs on whether it's a RACI document. All the artifacts that we have, there should be an audit team that is doing the sign-offs, maybe initially manually, but so this may sound like it takes time, but it's the most robust solution that we can build, so that tomorrow we are not wasting time into fixing things that cannot be, reverted. So one is that, so the audit process will have to start with the artifacts first, and then, like I suggested, the audit process can very well be incorporated in the solution as a feature or as a theme, and it could be automated as well. So apart from that, the next slide. Yes, so some of the risks that we've identified are actually 2. First is that maybe all of our developers are not so well equipped with the technologies that we are seeking to kind of develop. For that, initially, there's a reason why we were doing the people audit and the tech audit. So through those 2 processes or the project management techniques, we should be able to arrive at what are the kind of resources that we'll have to hire in terms of the technology. Then second is that, again, they may not be very well versed with the agile processes. So we can always hire an agile coach or a scrum master who will be able to streamline all of these processes. In fact, also coach the people, because it's ultimately a change management solution. Then some of the milestones are that we would like to get done with the artifacts within 1 year. The product innovation will take time, but then the first fewer iterations could be within 1 year. The process optimization will be within 2 years and ongoing. And we will have to monitor continuously. Some of how will we monitor is actually based on 2 kinds of KPIs. One is qualitative, the other is quantitative. Quantitative basically deals with the number of legal cases that we've been able to kind of tackle, so it's more technical. And qualitative will be our compliance to the guidelines. So we have a process-based and a technical, the actual work, the technical work-based KPI. So this is our proposed solution, and I hope that you guys like it. There's so much that we'd like to discuss more in the finals. So looking forward to it. Thank you.
Okay, well, first, nice presentation. Thank you, guys. Thank you. You seem to put in front a development and in-house development of the solution. Should we understand it completely
No, so we are not, so there's a reason why we first introduced the tech audit and the resource audit, because that will help us determine whether we have the capabilities to build it in-house. If not, we will be open to licensing it or to buying the solution as well.
Okay, thank you.
Great presentation, by the way. Just a quick question about this phase that we just have a look at. Do you have any clue about the planned effort, like for ourselves, for IT and business, to make sure that we complete this phase?
Well, actually, I think it could be a continuation of this phase where we establish a product backlog, and of course, effort is included within that product backlog, and there are different ways that you can estimate it. It could be either t-shirt sizes or, the various methods that currently exist. So that would be part of it. It would definitely be a part of our conclusion. It would just be further developed in the next phase.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, I have one. Could you please put the RACI on the screen? On the screen, thank you.
No, yeah.
Yeah, this one. On the market analysis line, there's two accountable. How do you justify something like this?
Because Andre being the director, he is accountable for it, but Laura, who has the expertise in-house, she's the one that is accountable for more of the the technology part of it and the tech expertise. So overall, Andre is accountable, but Laura is also accountable to make sure that it aligns with all the technical requirement that's required.
Thank you.
On the same slide,
Yeah.
By the way, very impressive presentation. So for urgency, is that related to the approval instance, for example, or?
Sorry,
What
could
do
you
mean
repeat
by
that once?
Urgency?
So urgency, I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
So urgency in this would be the overall urgency of any stakeholder at hand. For example, I'm not I don't remember the name correctly, but the one who's actually going to use the product, I believe that was Frederick.
Okay.
So that's the one stakeholder I would place at urgent, because that's the current need of that particular stakeholder, because the business at hand is not as efficient, and the change that is required is the most urgent. So that the urgency in that sense is the solution that's required is most time sensitive for that particular individual, is how I'll place my urgency.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys didn't talk about the cost. Is there a specific reason to this?
Yeah, so the cost analysis the cost estimates will actually be a part of the requirement traceability. So we did mention it, but then it's the cost will basically depend on some of the artifacts that we are going to shell out in terms of the artifacts. So it will actually be a composition of a number of things that we are already specifying in the artifacts that we are gathering. So that will probably be like a +1 to. Thank you so much, guys.